Please help me welcome Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan.
I'm so glad I didn't wear that blazer today that's in my photo, because sometimes that happens. That's embarrassing. So thank you so much, Al. Dr. Al, who is a roller skating principal. Did you know that? And I just wanted to say thank you so much to our musicians and my fellow alumni from St. Louis Park High School. Didn't they do an incredible job? So I have been brought to the edge of tears multiple times already this morning. So we'll see how this goes, everybody. Buckle up. Okay. Bonjour, Peggy Flanagan, Indigenous Kaz, Gajuwe Damukwe, Indigo, Guabaga, Ganikag, Nindunjaba, Mangan, and Dodame. My name is Peggy Flanagan. My English name is Peggy Flanagan. My Ojibwe name, or my spirit name, is Speaks with a Loud and Clear Voice Woman. I'm a member of the White Earth Nation, and my family is the Wolf Clan. And the role of our clan is to ensure that we're not leaving anyone behind, which is why I love BARR. I'm so excited to be here at this national conference celebrating 25 years of BARR because I believe in this model. I know that it works. And I am with people who are preparing our future leaders, and I would argue our current leaders in our communities. And that's not just a throwaway line for someone who's about to give a keynote speech. It's true. And this is a very personal moment for me because I sincerely believe that I wouldn't be here standing in front of you today as Lieutenant Governor had it not been for the founder of BARR. I was a student at St. Louis Park High School, and I still hadn't really figured out a lot of things in my life. Home was not often a safe place for me. School and extracurricular activities and the classes where I had a relationship with my teacher were my saving grace and the thing that allowed me to be here today. And it's amazing to see how this conference has grown over the past several years as more and more people recognize the power of BARR. I'm the product of St. Louis Park School System, but mostly I am the product of the deep love and support of people who saw my potential. A potential that I absolutely did not see in myself. The district is the former home of many educators who have helped to develop BARR. And when I was in that school system, many of them helped to lift me up, to help me see my future self in a way that I just was unable to see. And I know that many of you just are super fans of Angie Jerabek, right? But I would argue I am the biggest super fan of Angie Jerabek. So if we've chatted here so far, you know that I immediately say, Angie Jerabek was my high school guidance counselor. And I would not be here if not for her. Her office was a refuge for me. It was a place where I could tell the truth about what was happening in my life, when in many other spaces, I could not. I applied for college because of Angie. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll take some time off. But she was like, you have to apply for college, and literally helped me to fill out those FAFSA forms and get letters of recommendation and just made it all happen for me. And there were places where I was engaged and not so engaged. Places where I had a can-do attitude and places where I just had an attitude. And she pushed me, and she saw that potential. And I would like to think that I inspired a little bit of BARR. There are other educators here. Last night, I really, agonized over having a glass of wine at the reception because Mr. Laney was there. Miss Totley, who ran up, and I was like, "Oh, Gail Totley, it's nice to meet you." Mrs. Totley! And the thing that I am most familiar with her saying is, "Miss Flanagan, are you on your way to class?" And of course, Mr. Brubaker, who's here, I have already sent the photo of our selfie to my fellow alumni from the class of 1997. They all say, "Hi, Brad." But of course, I couldn't call him Brad. I had to call him Mr. Brubaker. But all of these people created a net so I would not fall through. And that is what BARR does. And in many ways, kids today face challenges, bigger challenges than ever in school, and you see it every single day. And I believe that BARR is a big part of this solution, a big part, because it works. Educators across Minnesota and across the country need support in addressing school climate and mental health issues. Using existing resources, BARR system focuses on building meaningful relationships. They are the key. Capitalizing on the strengths of every student and leveraging student data to truly transform a school's culture. BARR meeting systems allow teachers to communicate and share strategies about how to meet the needs of every student. And the data reaffirm how effective BARR is. BARR works to create equitable schools. Every student, regardless of race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, has access to a high-quality education where adults know them, recognize their strengths, help them to succeed, but also just see them, their whole selves that they can bring into the classroom every day. Schools are not places where we just simply send students to download knowledge. Our young people aren't hard drives. They're unique, beautiful, special people, and they are full of potential, and you know it. So when kids like me come around, it's a little frustrating because you're like, "I know what you are capable of." Maybe Angie was like, "I know you can be the second most powerful person in the state of Minnesota." And to best serve these students, we need systems that can ensure that we can reach them in the ways that we need to in order to help them. And it boils down to something really simple and a word that we hear all the time, but BARR embodies it. And that word is community. Community. When I think about the most impactful aspects of my educational journey and the things that I look for in my own fifth grader, Siobhan, in her journey, it all comes back to community. A community of people who know each other, rely on one another, are accountable to each other. And that's what's so special about BARR. It recognizes that in order to serve students, the adults in the building also need support and structure and community. I honestly believe that individual teachers, individual counselors, individual principals can change lives. But what happens when all of those folks are connected and working together? We can change entire systems, entire communities, entire neighborhoods, entire states, and the country. I believe that this program is one of the most important tools in our toolbox. In a day and age where we talk about red states or blue states or who is in and who is out, BARR pushes all of that aside and says we are focused on one thing: relationships and students. We don't care. And isn't it refreshing to have a system and a program that does just that? So when we consider the challenges that, educators face today, we know that this is one of the most important things that we can do. We're on a mission in Minnesota to make Minnesota the best place in the country to raise a family, the best state to grow up in. And I know that there are people in this room who are working in states across the country who are working to do the same. Maine, we are in a tough competition. But we're all competitive, so I like our chances. But in order to accomplish this lofty goal, we put children and families at the center of everything that we do, and we've been able to make some huge changes. We passed a no-cost breakfast and lunch program for all students, ensuring there's no stigma. We're just feeding kids. And as a kid who was on free and reduced price lunch with a different colored lunch ticket, boy, does that make a difference. We have more than $1 billion spent on affordable housing, so fewer kids will have to worry about where they will sleep and where they will do their homework. And we've attached school funding to inflation to ensure our public schools have the stability that they need. But let me be absolutely clear, especially to my educators from Minnesota, we have more to do. We've got more to do. And I mention this because I believe that we expect the best results for our students. We need to ensure that their families are supported both inside and outside the school building. Our children do not come in pieces, and we should not treat them that way. And another investment that we made, of course, is increasing funding for BARR. BARR is now in more than 40 schools across Minnesota. This program is being used in urban, suburban, and rural schools, and it is getting results. And when Angie Jirabek calls the lieutenant governor and asks her to do something, I'm very accountable to her, and I say, yes, ma'am, I'm going to get it done. I recently visited a school in rural Minnesota, in greater Minnesota, in a community called Detroit Lakes. Let me try that again. In a community called Detroit Lakes. All right. The high school there is near White Earth Nation, the reservation where I am enrolled. The school has seen many struggles and seen many students struggle to succeed. I met with educators there and learned how the BARR model is helping them to ensure that no student is slipping through the cracks. It has helped them to ensure that each kid is getting the shot that they need to succeed and the shot that they deserve. Here are some of the things that I learned about, and I'm going to share data with you because you are also nerds. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in this ballroom. So in January of 2022, the school had a chronic absenteeism of 45.4%. In January of 23, that number came down to 29%. And in January of this year, the month before I visited, it was 23.6%. Let's be clear, that's still high, but that is massive, measurable progress. And then just one more, in 2018-2019, pre-pandemic, they had 31 ninth graders who failed 3 or more courses. Last school year, that was down to 12. Halfway through this school year, that number is down to 3. 3. So in Minnesota, BARR is changing lives. And when some of you think of Minnesota, you probably think about cold weather, Prince, and at least this spring, the Timberwolves. Go Wolves. But I believe that, I want you to leave here knowing that Minnesotans are amazing, diverse, highly educated, highly engaged, but we also really value things that work. And BARR works. It's been true for decades that, we're going to continue to invest in our children and in our future. But I can tell you, we continue to hear, the opportunity gap, this gap, here's the data. And this thing just works. So we should just do it. And we should do it as many schools and as many communities across the country as we can. Because I know that I don't want to talk about these gaps anymore. I want to talk about these strengths. I want to talk about the things that we know are giving our students an opportunity, no matter who they are or where they live or what trauma they bring with them to school. I am a survivor of domestic violence and a child witness, and I am also the lieutenant governor of Minnesota, because of these things and people who created this net to catch me. BARR is going to help us create the education system that our young people deserves, and I am all in. And I am so grateful to all of you who do this work, who see a kid who in some classes makes herself as small as possible to stay safe, and some classes becomes their full, beautiful self, and those teachers are talking to each other. Thank you. Thank you on behalf of kids like me. The data tells us the story. The quantitative data tells the story. But the qualitative data, as Angie talked about, that is the special sauce. That is the thing where we just watch young people change and bloom. And I'm so excited that you are here. I am sad that I have to fly back to Minnesota shortly, but I am just cheering all of you on. And I will do whatever it takes to continue to make sure that this program grows, that more young people have access to it, that more educators have access to it, and that you have everything that you need to be successful. I know that I inspired a bit of BARR. And I will wear that as a badge of honor because it was those relationships with Angie Jarabek, with Peter Redman, with Nancy Swan, with John Muskowski, these educators who saw my full potential. It is why I am here. And I know that there are more and more leaders in your classrooms who have the potential for big, bright, badass, bold futures. And that you all are the key to that. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And happy 25th anniversary to BARR. Here is to 25 more. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this today. And Angie, I love you so much. Thank you.